Hey, this your boy Frank Gore. I'm listening to 49er Rush. Niners all day. Let's bring 6 home, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. I love it, man.
It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? I'm your host, as always, John Chapman, and this is the 49ers Rush podcast. Now, a couple things. It's not a live show. However, all the hashtag CCs will still be accounted for our monthly giveaway, and if you haven't done that yet, all you got to do is turn on that notification bell. Anytime we go live or even do a show like this, it still counts. We do a monthly giveaway. We're giving away a huge jersey. Just waiting on a shipment to come in. I want to make sure it comes in before I promise anything specific, but the holidays are kind of weird, but whatever. I have some backup jerseys if it doesn't get in time. That's a hashtag CC. Now, I'm recording this early because my teaching job, we have our Christmas party this afternoon and just won't be able to go live before the game. So I wanted to record this before I went into work this morning and share with you kind of what my thoughts are and the overall sentiment that I think the national media and the 49ers themselves and me included in that, the 49ers are finally playoff worthy. Whether that's by the record that they have, right, 8-6, won 5 out of the last 6 games, whether that's out of, if we look at the rankings of the players and the stats, they're now a top 6 defense whenever you're looking at total yards allowed, 11th best offense, again, focusing on yards allowed, a lot of different metrics, the eye test, who they played, who they've beaten, they belong. And what I want to do, because again, this is a short week, I wanted to spend some time going over before we focus on the Titans. That's going to be tomorrow's episode where we dive in and focus on all those things. I wanted this to be internal. Now, we just loaded an hour-plus breakdown over on Patreon going through every offensive play, and the offense was great. Really was great. But the defense. The defense is a whole another animal, and the one common characteristic of the 49ers winning over this time period, it's the defense. They only lost 1 game out of the last 6, and that's the only time against Seattle Seahawks that they allowed a team over 30 points. Seattle scored 30. During this stretch, listen to this defensive performance. They allowed 10 points versus the Rams. Incredible. 10 points versus the Jags. Jags suck. 26 versus the Vikings, but delivered some key stops coming up late. 23 versus the Bengals in overtime, and 13 versus the Falcons. The defense is putting the 49ers in a place to be successful. And I wanted to let Kyle Shanahan kind of jump in here because I thought this was one of my favorite clips from the press conferences after the game and the following day. Shout out to Juan Solis, as always, for working so dang diligently and getting these to us so that we could have this dialogue. I'm the only one up here, right? And so I know most 49ers and sports podcasts have multiple co-hosts, and that provides a little bit more dialogue, and I understand the advantages that has. Unfortunately, with where I am, I have to record early, and its sun hasn't come up yet, and all those things. But I wanted to bring in these voices and all of these clips to create that dialogue and conversation back and forth. Now, next year, whenever I go full time with this, and I don't have 3 jobs, I'll be able to have a lot more guests on to create that. I know a lot of people have asked that, and I appreciate all the suggestions. But for now, let's have a conversation with the man himself, Kyle Shanahan, showing D'Amico Ryan's first-year defensive coordinator some love.
I've been very pleased and excited about D'Amico. We knew he would be good, but then there's lots of challenges that go through the year. And when it's your first time, you gotta learn on the run. It's just about adjusting to things. And D'Amico, just the way he's handled the team, the way he's handled the players, the way he's handled things when his back's been against the wall from just pressure outside and stuff. The guy's always the same, and I think he's getting better as the year goes, and that means he'll get better each year with us.
He's been awesome. Yeah, have there been some bad games? Sure. There's bad games for every single NFL team. The fact that he's a first-year TC and the adjustments that he has continued to make, that's the things that have stood out to me. Going from what Robert Saleh did with the Bravo D-line group, where you literally had like your starters and you had your backups, and they never played together. He changed that like after a month and was like, nope, we're losing too much. So what he does is the Bravo +1, which I've talked about, where instead of 4 fresh D linemen and they're all backups, he keeps one stud out there, whether that's DJ Jones or Eric Armstead or Nick Bosa, like not putting in just straight backups. That's been huge. Now listen to some of these metrics that qualify as top 10. 6th in yards allowed. 6th in first downs allowed. 4th in total passing attempts, 7th in passing yards. And then whenever you get down to the 3rd and 4th down conversions, which I think are the most important, 9th best 3rd down conversion rate, only allowing 37%. 7th best 4th down rate. And a lot of that was this week because you got 3 goal line stands within, your own 20, within your own 10 on 2 of those, where they come away with 0 points. And that's huge. 11th in red zone percentage. And if you are top 10 in all 3 of those categories, which the 49ers are very close to, great things are coming. Great things are coming. Now, let's go to the analytics side. I'm going to be breaking down the defense tomorrow on Patreon. I went with the defense the first breakdown the last 3 weeks in a row because it's been that good. I still think the defense was the best in this game in the win versus the Falcons. Defense was incredible. But the offense was up there. And so I know offense is what people want, whatever. But the defensive breakdown is going to be tomorrow. Now, analytics side, Pro Football Focus. Listen to these scores. They're interesting because, I post these every week on Twitter at JL_Chapman. And one of the 49ers had a little bit of a beef. We've been getting a lot of interactions with 49ers players lately. And not all positive, but that's okay. It's nice to be included. Nick Bosa continues to be a top 3 defensive player in the NFL. There's no way you could pick more than 3 players ahead of him. If you want to talk about Myles Garrett or TJ Watt in the same kind of position as him, that's cool. He graded with the 91. He's got 15 sacks now, another forced fumble. Just 2 solo run stops. Dude was just freaking everywhere. He had a 91 grade. K'Wan Williams, Shark, so damn good. I think that he should be in the mix for like the second team All-Pro as the nickel corner. He's that good. He scored at 81. Fred Warner, best game this year by far, 79.4. He was all over the place, just played incredible. Armstead, 76.7. Armstead had 5 pressures, 1 quarterback hit, 4 hurries. Okay, cool. That's awesome. 5 tackles, 4 solo run stops. Dude's all over the place. Now, is he getting the sacks and the tackle for losses? Not necessarily, but man, so impactful. Samson, top 5, 75.4. Now, Jaquiski Tartt, who I thought had one of his best games of the year. Really, really did. Now, he still got his missed tackles. He had 2 missed tackles this game. But Talanoa Hufanga went out. Hufanga played 6 snaps and got injured, the lowest graded player. He finished with a 30.2. He didn't get a lot of meaningful snaps. Ambry Thomas, 38.4. But Jaquiski Tartt finished number 15 out of 19 possible players with the 56.4. Not a good grade. And so I tweeted out these scores. I want to share this if you're watching on YouTube. And so I just tweeted out the scores like that for Pro Football Focus, just sharing with people that follow me, whatever else. Tartt, man, he's awesome. He retweets it. He says this, and this is a direct quote if you're just listening from Tartt. That's why PFF is a joke. And he does the sideways smiley face laughing emoji. That's why you got to let the silent tape do the talking. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong because, and I have said this countless times on this show, Pro Football Focus is a launching point to talk about things. The good thing that Pro Football Focus does is it weighs every single play. So Tartt played 54 snaps out of 59. He only missed 5 snaps. He was positive and made some of the biggest splash plays. The 4th down, the initial 4th and 1, that pass breakup was one of the best plays of Tartt's career. Maybe the best play ever for his career. It was incredible. And kind of set the tone for how the whole game went after that. That's all Tartt. Had some huge tackles. But he had some negative plays on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 8. And again, those aren't the plays we remember. I love Tartt. He's incredible. But very similar to Aziz, very similar to K'Wan Williams, and they're splash players. Splash players, unfortunately, have negative plays. Do I think that Tartt was the 15th most valuable player out of 19 defenders on the 49ers? Hell no, I don't. Hell no, I don't. You could see the live impact that he had on this team. I put a tweet out talking about the players that should be all-pro considered on the 49ers roster. Well, Tartt wasn't mentioned. And a lot of players love Tartt. A lot of, 49ers fans love Tartt. Rightfully so. He's incredible. And they're like, how would you leave Tartt off this list? To which I responded, dude's playing, I think, better than he has at any point in his 5 years with the 49ers. I think he is. He's great. He's one of our best defenders. However, the missed tackles are still an issue. I think he has 12 on the season. That's a lot, especially whenever he's only playing, a little over 60% of the snaps because he's splitting time with a rookie. You're splitting time with a rookie, probably not going to be an all-pro player. That's just it, and that's a realistic approach to this. Now, he's incredible, and we are better when he's on the field. But at the same time, you kind of have to look at that and just be able to say, I don't know. I don't know. I love Tartt. I hope he keeps playing, and, I don't know how long Hufanga is going to be out, but there's no step back. They're just different players. They're completely different skill sets, Hufanga and Tartt. I love the way that they have been managing their reps. Really have been. Personally, I would prefer Hufanga up closer to the line of scrimmage. I'd also prefer Tartt up closer to the line of scrimmage. I'd prefer Jimmy Ward be the safety back if we're doing our, cover 3 type whatever, but we don't do that. We don't do that. Now, sticking with the defensive side, Nick Bosa on just kind of breaking down his strip sack on Matt Ryan, which was a huge play.
I didn't know the ball was out. But yeah, that was huge. Samson made a big play on the play action, and then I had a nice power rush, and Fred and Samson ran a good game over there to make him flush out of the pocket, and I ran him down.
They like you affected Ryan beyond the sacks, and it seems like you guys pressured him a lot.
Yeah, he's really good in the pocket, and he's actually one of the better quarterbacks when it comes to avoiding the rush in the pocket. And whenever you make him move a lot and not let him just sit where he wants to be, it definitely helps the back end.
And so I think that's important, right? Like the play we in the episode before the game, we listened to Arthur Smith and Cordarrelle Patterson and Matt Ryan. We had clips of all of them talking about how they wanted to handle this game. It didn't go the way they wanted. They wanted to run the ball like crazy. We outrushed them by, I think, 9 rush attempts, way more yards. They didn't rush for 100 yards. First time in a month that they haven't done that. We took them out of what they wanted to do. And it all started with the defensive line. Now, I thought this clip was interesting, and it's almost, I hope you're watching it on YouTube so that you can kind of see his... Nick Bosa's weird anyway, so, and not in a bad way. He's just different. But he got another chokehold no call where literally the guy had his arm on his back, under his elbow under the chin, in a chokehold. And of course it wasn't called. But here's Bosa talking about how another chokehold, another no call.
Can't really prepare for that, but I thought I was going to maybe get the call there, but guess not.
You could tell it weighs on these players. It does. It does. And I'll say this. Should it have been called a hold? 100%. You know me. I'm not a refs guy. But the one thing that I will say is the refs didn't call it both ways. So, was that a hold? 100% yes. Did they call it? No. Okay. That's part of the equation. It's not as black and white as if it's a hold, you got to call a hold. It's not. You got to call it the same on both ways. That's the key, and I think that the officials did as far as holding goes. I mean, I just finished the offensive film breakdown over an hour long. There were some holds that were missed calls against the 49ers offense. The offensive line held. It wasn't called by them either. So once you set the precedent, and this is all about game management for officiating crews, it's not as black and white as just call every hold. That's not what you do. That one was egregious, 100%. There were some bad no calls against us as well. And so balance it out. That removes the refs from impacting the game in a negative way. Call it the same. That's what's key. Did they do that? I don't know. It would great, but I think that they missed it. I really do think that they missed that call. It's what it is. Now, before we jump over and we talk a little bit about what's happening with the special teams and the offense and all those things, we do have another special episode dropping this week over on Patreon, the Rush Hour. Check this out. Guys, excited to announce a brand new kind of movement within the podcast itself, and that's called the Rush Hour. This is something I can't take credit for this. People have been emailing and asking for me to do some non-49ers content, okay? So here's what's going to happen. We're going to be doing bonus podcast episodes. The first 15 to 20 minutes, still going to be Niners focused. But the second half of the Rush Hour is going to be more broad topics in the NFL. Power rankings, tracking rookie quarterback development, seeing schemes and some tendencies, perhaps that's changing across the NFL. Coverage-based things like that. So the only place to get this is bonus coverage is going to be over on Patreon. So go to patreon.com, search for 49ers Rush Podcast. It's the only place it's going to be. Now, again, not taking anything away. This isn't taking the place of our regular programming. This is just trying to provide more value for the community that supports the podcast and is helping us to become kind of what we want it to be. So best way to support the podcast is always on Patreon. So if you want a little bit extra NFL broad with some 49ers focus at the start, that's the place to get it. The Rush Hour is going to be kind of a bi-weekly thing over on Patreon. Support the show, support the program so we can keep creating more for you. Thank you guys for all the support as always. Look forward to seeing you there. And so what we're going to have up on there, I'm going to probably get it loaded today, part 2, today or tomorrow, part 2 of the kind of behind the mic series, which has gotten a lot of positive feedback if you haven't checked that out. So if you want to laugh, that's kind of the place where you're going to go for that. Now, let's talk about what Kyle Shanahan liked about the entire game in the win versus the Falcons.
I liked almost how we played every play except for about 10 of them. Which kind of doesn't sound like the best answer, but I thought our defense played really well in the first half, but we had 3 penalties there on third down that I think they got points on all those, and we're getting off the field. One of them that I think was kind of just unfortunate, part of the league, and then 2 that is totally on us that we got to fix. Offense I thought was really good, and then the 2 drives before our final drive, I think we went 3 and out on both. We just needed to stay on the field and finish them right there. But D came up huge with those 4th down stops, which made us survive it.
So positives and negatives, right? Trying to balance this out. Now, there were about 110 or so plays, maybe a little bit more. I think 116 if you're just counting offense-defense plays. And again, so for Kyle to say there were about 10 plays I didn't like, that's less than 10%. So if you like 92% of the plays that you have in a given game, that's great. Like you hear them say, 10 plays I didn't like. And you're like, well, that's a lot. It's really not in the scope of a game that has, 110 plus plays offensively and defensively. 49ers dominated. That was represented on the scoreboard, represented by so many different metrics, yards per play, red zone, third down, fourth down, all those different things. It tells the same story. The 49ers have improved. And are the Falcons the litmus test for if you're a good team? No, they're not. They're not. But what is a litmus test for if you're a good team is what do you do over a 6-game stretch? Well, you win 5 out of 6, you're a good football team. I don't care who you're playing. Now, again, during those wins, Rams, that's a key win. Vikings, that's a key win. Bengals, who are first place, that's a key win. So the Falcons don't determine who you are. But whether you look at this game, 49ers look good. Whether you're looking at the last month, 49ers look good. You're looking at the last 2 months, still the 49ers look good because they're 6 of 8. So they had that terrible start where they were 2 and 5, 2 and 4. Yeah, they were 2 and 4, and then 3 and 5. So there are metrics and measurements throughout the season where the 49ers have been found wanting. Not any longer. Who's playing better football than us right now? Who? The Miami Dolphins, maybe. Let me pull up win streaks in all this because I think this is important. It's so damn hard to win in the NFL. The Dolphins have a 6-game win streak. The Kansas City Chiefs have a 7-game win streak. In the entire NFC, the most wins currently are the Cowboys and Packers with 3. We're right behind them with 2. And again, the team we're playing this week with the Titans, which we're going to do a whole episode on the Titans, so I don't want to go too far off the rails here. I want to focus on us. The Titans have lost, 3 out of 4? Like, they're not the same team without all those players that are out. And guess what? They're almost all going to be out again. Now, A.J. Brown, they designated him to return this week. Whether he plays or not, that's still yet to be determined. But I don't care how you look at it. The 49ers are a good team. And a big reason why that is, I did not do Jimmy Garoppolo justice last episode. A big problem whenever I go live, I have all my notes. I don't have it scripted. And so sometimes, Jimmy G was my first paragraph to break down. But the questions and all that stuff brought me to my second and third points almost naturally. And I never went back to the top of the page. And so I apologize. That is 100% on me and nobody else. I explained kind of an excuse, but that's not it. I'm just telling you what happened. I did Jimmy Garoppolo a disservice on the immediate post-game reaction show because I did not go into much detail on what he's accomplished. Jimmy Garoppolo, and listen to Kyle Juszczyk in a very interesting clothing attire, looking sharp as always. He's such an interesting guy. Talk about the importance of Jimmy Garoppolo stacking games.
I mean, Jimmy's been stacking weeks this whole year, and we do feel like he's just continually getting better. But I know today there was something different about him. He had this aura about him. I mean, even at breakfast, George and I looked at each other and we're like, Jimmy's ready to go today. And I love to see it from him. It's contagious too, because when we see our head guy like that fired up and ready to go, it makes everybody else fired up.
And he's been great this year. You look at kind of his stats and what that looks like. It wasn't great early on during that stretch where we were 2-4 or a 3-5 football team. He's got 18 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Now that's not all world or even top 10 probably if you're looking at just touchdowns to interception ratio. But that's not who the 49ers are. And everybody wants to hold players to different standards based on other teams. We're not an aired out team. That's not what we run. A fullback and 2 tight end sets. We're a running football team. That's who we are. So what does Jimmy Garoppolo need to be? He needs to be efficient. He's beyond efficient. He's completing 67.4% of his passes. That's right where he needs to be. You go back to 2019, he was at 69.1, right? Like, that's where it is. He's had a positive 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Guess where he was in 2019? Exactly a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. You look at yards per attempt, they're higher than where he was in 2019. And so if we're just comparing those two metrics to each other, you've got to be happy. And the lack of turnovers are key. He threw 2 interceptions against Seattle. We lost that game. Other than that, he's only thrown 1 interception in the past 6 games, and we still won that game. That was against the Vikings. So the fact that, again, if you take out that one eyesore, or if you don't, okay, cool, let's keep it in there for the last 6 games. He's got 3 interceptions in 6 games. That is winning formula. Interceptions happen in the NFL. It's just what they are. You look at Tom Brady and his game. You can look at whatever quarterbacks you want. And the only quarterback not turning the ball over currently is Aaron Rodgers, and he's probably going to win another MVP. It's a whole nother discussion, especially with Tom Brady laying a huge goose egg. But he's been great. And when the 49ers don't turn the ball over, they win almost every freaking time. Now, listen to Kittle. The question was asked, how has the 49ers offense improved? I thought this was very telling.
I think our offense is just doing a good job of staying on the field. I know we weren't great on third downs last week to start. We finished well, though. And I thought we did a pretty good job today of just third and shorts, or we converted, or we didn't have third downs. And I thought our offense did a really good job of that. We had a lot of big plays. And I think a lot of that is just confidence. Guys are running through the ball. Guys are getting yak. Guys are being aggressive with the ball in their hands. And we're not turning the ball over. And I think that's like the biggest thing we're doing. And then our defense is forcing turnovers. I mean, what a day for our defense. You can't really say enough. We started that game pretty badly, and they saved us there, got us out, and then they had a couple fourth down stops, and I thought our defense definitely had their swagger today. All over the field, from Arden, Bosa, Fred, Kwaski. I thought had a fantastic game. But yeah, I mean, our defense, when they're playing at a high level, it really encourages our offense because they're off the field pretty quick, and it allows us to stay hot and allows us to keep going.
He's really good at what he does. Really, whatever he does, whether it's working out, football, press conferences, the dude can do whatever the hell he wants. And it was funny. I was putting out some live clips of the game time, as the game was going on in real time, which is kind of rough because I'm doing my notes. I've got the game on 2 screens, and I'll record a play with my phone, super high tech, just because it's faster. I don't have time to, do my screen capture stuff and all that stuff on live games. And there was one play. I think it was the Jeff Wilson touchdown, right up the middle. Hit the crease, where Kittle limped to the sideline and was kind of grabbing his inner leg. And so, again, real quick, I just tweeted out, it looks like he may have pulled his groin or something. Well, Kittle cleared that up pretty good. He responded to the tweet, which, again, love the interaction. Kittle's as good as they get. And so, again, I put a clip of the video where you could see him kind of grabbing his inner thigh. He responds with a gif of a WWE kick to the groin, which is hilarious. And, it's fun, the community that's been built on Twitter, because, Trent Taylor, 49ers legend, Kendrick Bourne, a lot of the old, 49ers that came in with Kittle responding and reacting to the tweet, which is a lot of fun. I love me some George Kittle. He's great. But, the interaction with the fan base is always great. And I don't know. I thought it was hilarious that it's a short week and they've got a lot of stuff going on, but you can't practice and lift weights nonstop. But this is somebody that, values what it looks like at home and what it looks like for the fans that wants to interact there. So shout out to Kittle for that. Appreciate that. Now, this week, excited to announce MyBookie has not 1, not 2, but 12 free giveaways for the 12 days of Christmas. The holiday season is upon us, and MyBookie's in the giving spirit. With 12 straight days of giveaways. Every day, there's a new exclusive promotion for you to redeem. And the best part, it's all free when you sign up and make your first deposit with MyBookie using our promo code 49ers. Starting December 21st and ending January 1st, you can bring in the new year right with giveaways that can help fill your stockings with extra cash this season. From odds boost to free casino chips to straight up locks. 12 days of giveaways is a can't miss promotion. So head to mybookie.ag, use promo code 49ERS. They're going to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000 anyway. So get over there. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And, I've said over and over again how much Vegas loves the 49ers. This morning, I checked MyBookie and the lines for the game on Thursday. 49ers are favored by 3.5 points on the road against a team that is in first place in their division. And now, obviously, their injuries, and they've dropped 3 out of 4. I get all those things. But that's incredible. 3.5-point favorites on the road? 49ers, the Vegas loves the 49ers. And I said this before as well. I think they'll be favored in every single game except for the Rams. I think the Rams will be favored by a point or 2 because they're the home team. We're going to be there, baby. If you haven't got your tickets yet, please head over there. Get your tickets. We've got the 49ers Rush Roadtrip.com. It's going to be an absolute blast. If you're coming out there, man, it's going to be, what if the Rams lose one game? This game is going to be huge for playoff implications, no matter what. There's just too many ways for it to matter. Like, no matter what happens, this game counts. So come on out, party with us, 49ersRushRoadtrip.com. Get your tickets. We've got 2+ tailgates on there if you want to check those out. Once you get your tickets, you get all that information added to the guest list. It's all good, and you'll be good to go. Now, back to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I thought this was awesome because, one of the most common questions I get is, is this trap game? Could they overlook this opponent? All those things. Listen to Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, he said similar things before the game. They were locked in.
Felt good. Feel good at a lot of games, though. But, I don't know. I think guys were locked in today. You felt it throughout the week, too. Just, was a big game. NFC opponent, playoff picture, and everything like that. It's December football, so we knew what we were in for.
And, I said this. The Vikings game was most important. Falcons game, second most important. Next most important game is that LA game. If the 49ers win 2 out of their last 3, they're in the playoffs no matter what. Realistically, they probably only need to go 1-2. They only need one more win, and they'll probably be in. If that one win was against the Rams, because the NFC conference, tiebreakers, and all that stuff. 49ers are probably in the playoffs. Obviously, they got to take care of business. They should beat the Titans. Definitely should beat the Texans. And I think it's going to be almost a coin flip game against the Rams, but they're the same old sorry-ass Rams. I don't care. We'll beat them. I don't care who we have. Now, looking at back to Pro Football Focus and kind of the analytical view of things, the highest-rated player for the 49ers, and by a stretch, Tom MF Compton, baby. What? Are you kidding me? And it matched on film. The dude had a 95.9 grade. 95.9. That's incredible. And if you break that down further, he had an 80/80 grade on pass blocking, which is good. And a 96.8. He was dominating, pancaking people. Looked like Trent Williams out there. Tom Compton has not only replaced Mike McGlinchey at the same level, he's exceeded it. Tom Compton's better than Mike McGlinchey. I'll say it outright. Tom Compton is better than Mike McGlinchey. Now, Compton's only done it for about 3 games, but holy freaking cow. This makes no sense. None. Now, he's 32 years old, and, he has never had a good season, ever. I'm looking just at his Pro Football Focus grades, okay? I'm just going to read start to finish. These are his yearly, started in 2013. These are his end of season numbers. Y'all ready? 62, 63, 68, 53, 57 in 2017, 62 in 2018, 49 for the Jets. Looks like his career's over. Comes in last year, not great, but 68. This year, 85.1. What the hell? This dude found the fountain of youth. I don't know if he's Captain America 2.0. I don't know what it is. Tom Compton is better than Mike McGlinchey. Now, he still has, it was against the Falcons, okay? Worst defensive line in the NFL. I understand that. But we're going to see. The Titans are for real. Titans defensive line for real. They got 3 studs. Not 1, not 2. They got 3 of them. We'll deal with that next episode. So, if Compton can keep the consistency, which is the main issue with him, either looks great or awful. Usually 2 bad plays a game. He didn't this game. He was great. George Kittle, number 2, with a 91 grade. Garoppolo, 88. Debo, baby, 78.6. Debo looked like Debo. And I love the way he was used where it was rushing. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to keep that. But also passing. He had 4 catches. Getting active in the passing game. But even more importantly than that, watching the film this morning was incredible because the wide receivers, Debo and Ayuk, blocking their asses off. Here's Debo talking about exactly that.
That's just a standard in our room. Wes put a big emphasis, and Kyle put a big emphasis on blocking. And the way we run the ball, it kind of set up all the passing stuff. So we do a great job and take pride in blocking for the backs because we want them to protect the quarterback whenever he got to throw us the ball. So it play hand in hand.
So, and it showed. Ayuk had a very bad game. He had that one huge catch for, I think, 36 yards on the slant. Also had a false start right before that play. But Ayuk blocked incredibly well. Incredibly well. Lowest graded players, Daniel Brunskill, 44.5. Even though it wasn't in the passing game, he was just bad in the run game. Trent Sherfield only played 5 snaps, had a 56.8. Ayuk, 58 grade. Travis Benjamin got 1 play. And Ross Dwelley got 1 play. They had 60 grades. So that's kind of where they go. So it's interesting. Now, I don't want everything to be sunshine and roses because I think this was a great win on offense and defense. Listen to Kyle talk about special teams, and I'm going to go off.
Some big returns on kickoffs. How confident are you?
Takes him a while here for this question.
I'm confident they're being addressed appropriately, but we're not getting enough of the results. It's when you don't get as much out of the kickoff, or you look at some line drives, or we'd love to get all touchbacks. That's what we're trying to go for. But there's not much to address on that. We just got to kick it better. And when we don't, we got to move down there better and make tackles. But it has been frustrating, and hopefully we can get some more guys back, which does help. But we got to make sure, first and foremost, we don't turn the ball over like that.
Special teams is trash. Not anything new. Not anything new for this season. Not anything new for last season, the year before season. 5 seasons in a row since Coach Hightower has been here. 0 improvement. In fact, it's gotten worse year after year. Now, it's not just the JaMychal Hasty fumbled opening kickoff. That was huge. It's not just JaMychal Hasty getting hit in the face mask with the ball out at the 9-yard line on the second kickoff. No. Punts were trash. Punt returns, trash. Kickoffs, trash. Kickoff returns, trash. All bad. All consistently bad. And I think I got this from Matt Barrows, I believe, who's incredible, does a great job at The Athletic. If you just look at the starting field position, which I talked about this live after the show, if you just look at the starting field position of the 49ers and the Falcons for every single situation, okay, every single time they started the possession, that equated to 180 yards difference minus for the 49ers. So, like, you can look at total yards or whatever. That's 180 extra yards the 49ers had to get if they would have been on a level playing field with the Falcons. That ain't it. You cannot go into the playoffs and win games losing the special teams battle every single week. Now, we won versus the Bengals, and that got us the victory, right? Those 2 punt returns fumbled for a touchdown. But that's been the anomaly. That was on them. They just fumbled 2 punts. That wasn't anything really we did. You say, oh, well, that punt was a screwball. Okay, cool. All right. If a screwball punt means you're going to punt it 29 and 37 yards, then don't screwball punt it because you're killing your defense. If they answered the call this time with 3 goal line stops, you can't ask them to do that. You cannot ask them to do that. You're putting them in a bad spot. And that's not where they belong. That's not where they need to be. So special teams is awful. I personally, and again, this might be a little it's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's 5 damn years. I'd fire that man in a second and replace him. That's what I would do. But Shanahan Loyalty Project, program, whatever you want to call it, it ain't going anywhere. So, like, man, it's bad. And I'm not mad at Hightower for the fumbled opening kickoff. I'm not. That's not what I'm upset about. I'm upset about the terrible punts. I'm upset about the kickoffs. Again, Kyle Shanahan even said, we want to touch back every time. We don't have a kicker that can kick the ball into the end zone. I guarantee you there are people out there on the street that you could bring on just to kick the ball into the end zone every time on kickoff. They exist. Go get one. We have so many damn injuries. We have room on our roster to do that. I don't understand the loyalty to Mitch. I don't. And I get he's only a 4th round punter. The highest drafted punter in the NFL, if I'm not incorrect. Maybe, yeah, he was drafted higher than Michael Dixon, the best punter in the NFL. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to have to look that up. Who's the highest drafted punter currently in the NFL? Is there anybody ahead of Mitch? Because, and I get we used to, like, complain about Bradley Pinion, but at least he can kick it, make a touchback. Like, it makes me mad, man. And I think it's going to cost us. You look at this team and our biggest weaknesses, okay? Special teams, number 1. Cornerback, number 2, Ambry Thomas, who hasn't been playing well. At least he's improving. He's in position, just not making plays on the ball. Hopefully that changes soon. But we're getting Emmanuel Mosley back. So, like, I think eventually that will improve. But I would say this, the biggest issue, special teams, number 1, cornerback, number 2, right guard, number 3. That's where I would put us. 49ers are playoff worthy. Back to where we started as we wrap this up. And they deserve to be where they are. Now, what if you keep this streak going? What if you get all 3 wins? What if you rattle off 3 more wins? Well, I can tell you this. You're going to be in pretty damn good position. Well, possibly even win the division, which isn't going to happen. Cardinals have to lose out. We have to win out. And the Rams have to lose one before us. It's a possibility because... we'll see. We'll see here. But, anything's possible, right? Kevin Garnett, thank you guys. Y'all are incredible. Appreciate all the support. Again, if you haven't yet, head over to Patreon. Patreon.com. Type in 49ers Rush Podcast. Give us a shot there. We got 3 different tiers that you can check out. And I promise you, you will not be sorry. We put out more content than anybody else out there. Really do appreciate everybody. Thank you for the support. And as always, stay strong, faithful.